before we begin, let's throw some thanks and sponsor mentions. Scratch Labs, people, the best tasting, easiest on your gut fueling option out there, not to mention a slew of recipes and food options for your time both on and off the bike. Get to packfiller.com. Click on the link for all the great work being done at Scratched Labs. Next off, Untapped Maple. Speaking of food, did you know that the untapped salted raspberry is absolutely brilliant on pancakes? Yeah, am I the only one who knows that? I did it the other day. It's so good. It probably adds a little extra calories, but it's winter. Or that the Stroop waffles are delicious with your morning coffee. I mean, I think that's kind of a given, but theirs are really good too. Be sure and check out all the great offerings that Untapped Maple has to offer. Click the link, packfiller.com. Movember Foundation, people, it's November. Well, at least it is for a bit longer. You might be listening to this show and it's no longer November. But be sure and check out our efforts to help fight the prostate cancer battle through facial hair. That just sounds weird, but it's true. Lastly, let me throw in a new one, shall we? What? POC Sports, people. That's right. POC is on board to keep us covered. The POC cycling collection includes helmets and apparel, as well as gloves and accessories for both men and women, and is developed to perfectly balance performance and protection. And we all know Paul's his thoughts on it, but I love their fucking helmets.
There is a positive thing to them.
Yeah?
It's Swedish, and I am Swedish.
Are you really?
Yeah, big time.
My
great-grandmother. I am Swedish.
I am.
My great-grandmother's off the boat. So.
Who has 2 thumbs and is Swedish? Jürgen Bergen. Yeah, that's the that's the extent of my Swedish. Is Jackson, you guys have no clue what we're fucking talking about. They don't know the Muppets, Paul?
The Swedish chef on Muppets?
Nope. Well, yeah, I do.
I don't.
Do you?
It was a bad imitation. That's why you couldn't.
Or the meatballs. Hey, it is a weird time. A time when cycling consists of either chasing cartoons or running around in the cold with your bike on your shoulder. The fuck? Or, if you're like me, the raging guilt and fear of the upcoming season gets you at least doing one of the above. Welcome to your support group for getting off the couch. This is the Packfiller. I'm Pat Bulger, and we are back and live from the Rim Break Bar. We took a week off, but let's get to it right, shall we? Welcome back, you guys. Let's see who's here. Here's the question for tonight. It's a quick one. Pizza or tacos? And if so, what kind? If you had to pick pizza or tacos, pick one and tell me what kind. Okay, he's the guy who, number one, when asked if it is okay to put Pilsner on tap in the bar, he simply sends a picture of a bear shitting in the woods. Mr. Paul Main.
Yeah.
How are you, man?
I say that for those particular occasions.
Yeah, it's like, duh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm doing all right, thanks. Yeah.
Pizza or tacos?
Pizza by far. I could, if I never had another taco, that's fine. Not into
what?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Don't even. I don't think they're foul or anything. It's just like
unless they're chicken.
Wow, that was a dad joke.
Yeah. Hey, I'm back, motherfucker. I don't have a laugh.
What are you doing, you moron?
That's
there we
better.
go. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, easy. Yeah.
Pizza. What kind?
Well, Benedito's, as you know, it's a place I hang out. They make it's a high drive, which is prosciutto and red onions, and gosh, I can't remember. Tons of goodness in there, and it's so good. Yeah,
I do. Okay, I can't spoil my answer. Okay, second, he's the guy who I'm now blaming for my Wednesday morning headaches, Mr. Sam Waples.
Oh, good to be back. Bourbon Boy still alive.
There have been some mornings just been like, what the fuck?
What did I do last night?
Oh yeah, that was podcast night. And there was the end of a show a couple weeks ago where I was slurring a little bit.
I've lowered the alcohol content for all of these.
Thank you.
Yeah, I would say
90 proof is not lower.
It's not cask strength.
That's true.
Yeah.
Oh,
you can't clean your floors with this one.
Yeah, exactly. This one won't strip the varnish off a table.
Right.
But I would say, like how long was the bike ride I just went on? Because pizza's more calories, so God, give me the calories if it was been a big day. But tacos are delicious.
What kind now?
Have to be street tacos.
Yeah.
Yeah. always. But like, I mean, being more plant based, I don't need any meat, so it's easier to do like a veggie.
You don't eat
pizza.
meat?
No.
Since
It's like
when?
very rarely would I have like a
Just a
salmon
second.
or
The
something.
door's right there.
Since
Walk.
when? Really?
Get. I poisoned David like, let's say 4 years ago now, and he ended up in the hospital with some bacteria from undercooked meat, and so the whole family went hardcore vegan, and then we've slowly transitioned into like eating more like cheeses and stuff like that.
Really?
Yeah, it's a great story. David was wrecked.
Wow.
It was probably what? Food
Intentional, yeah.
poisoning? Yeah. Outside of that,
I mean,
I
it's
figured
Intentionally. This is attempted murder.
I
He had a big bike ride planned the next day. It's like
exactly. Just didn't
Dude.
cook his patty all the way.
Can we just fucking start calling you guys Cain and Abel?
yeah. Cain and Abel.
Oh, it's true.
Wow.
Yep.
Okay. Third, he's the guy who should be running Twitter instead of Elon. Mr. Jackson Bulger.
Oh man.
He deals with children on a daily basis. I bet he'd be better than Elon.
Yeah.
Yeah. How are you, man?
I'm good. Yeah. Let's see. Pizza or tacos? I don't really even have to hesitate because I would have pepperoni pizza every single day of my life if I
pizza.
possibly
Just
could.
flat out
That's right,
pepperoni.
man.
It like my fiance and I talk about it. Like I have an issue. Well, okay, it's not like an issue, but like I love it a lot.
See, I was there until I worked in a pizza shop.
Well, I didn't do that.
Yeah, so I would say like, I don't think you can do it every day of your life.
Well, you'd think that,
Yeah.
but you want to
He
know
eats
the
a lot of pizza.
you want to know the last 3 meals I had yesterday were, except for breakfast,
Pizza?
it was pizza. Yeah.
Wow.
Really?
All pepperoni
That's
pizza.
dedication.
Because you bought one and you just have, I got
Exactly.
leftovers. And then
Any
I'll eat it again.
particular? Is there any?
Well, I think an underdog, in my opinion, is a DiGiorno pizza. Those are very high quality pizzas.
Never had it.
You'd be surprised. The rising crust pepperoni pizza. Pick one up, try it out. Favorite overall though, Domino's does a pretty good one.
Oh my
Jesus!
Pizza Pipeline does a pretty good one. Yeah.
You are in your 20s.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, you all know you like it, so don't get me in your 20s yet.
Okay, me, I'm the guy who's to blame for our week off. I'm Pat Bulger. I'm going to have to say, I'm going to have to say it's pizza. I love a good fucking street taco. I really do. I'm getting a little bit more mature in years, and sometimes some street tacos where I like going, this hot sauce is really good, I'm gonna put some more on, and then the next morning I'm like going, why
So you got to chase with ice cream.
yeah.
Come on, ice cream. Where are you? Motherfucker! Put
Yeah.
that fire out.
And I'm gonna sound weird. My homemade crust, I make my own crust with tomato basil sauce that I've actually made from scratch before, pepperoni, ground Italian sausage, green peppers, black olives, and a light dusting of pepperoncinis.
What's the cheese?
my
Mozzarella?
pizza. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Like a mozzarella cheddar blend, you know, one of those blends, you know, and that's it. That's my go-to. I could eat that every day.
Comfort food.
It is. And I enjoy it. And I've also enjoyed a lot of pizza this year. And anyway, who's training? Everybody? Is anybody training yet? Is anybody? Okay, you are officially on the gas.
Yeah, I am. I was looking at it, and I'm now. This is 7th week straight.
Fucking what?
Yeah, I know. I'm astonished.
Oh, that wasn't the one I wanted.
I don't think I've ever finished an 8-week block. Like, you know, well, I mean, trainer riding.
Okay, how many days a week?
The last week was it was at least 4, it might have been 5.
Oh, fuck.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's awesome.
I have nothing to say. I mean, that's it.
Is nobody else like
Fucking quit.
ridden at all?
Is anybody doing it? Anybody else doing
I
anything?
have.
Paul, you have?
Since
Indoors?
our last one, yeah, it has to be indoors.
Wow.
Because of time and light
Yeah,
and
well,
stuff.
yeah,
And then
it's
we haven't been above freezing either.
Yeah.
I've got 7 rides in since the last show.
In 14 days.
Indoor training.
Yeah.
Stuff. And then been doing some yoga and also so. How about you, Pat? How are things going?
Look at the anxiety building. It's like we're coming around the answers in the room, and Pat's like, "We had homework last night."
Let's start with your son.
Go to my happy place.
I mean, no, I haven't trained at all. And the thing is, my internal clock, it's beginning to wind itself up. So around Thanksgiving, my Thanksgiving break is when it always kind of kicks in. So that's, tomorrow.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Good man.
I'll start here
love
pretty
this
soon.
internal
Matt, did you
clock.
have like something busy like after school, after
Doesn't
your
fucking
work?
matter. It doesn't fucking matter.
Did you have to build a set?
Yeah.
Did you? Okay.
I
Did you have
okay.
to-
I will be truthful. Yesterday was my first day not being at. I teach at a high school. Yesterday was my first day not being in the high school in 40 days straight. Just because I was getting stuff ready. I was doing, I'm a theater director, so I'm painting the sets, I'm designing the lights, I'm doing stuff like that. So, it's not like I was there all day, but it was like 2 to 3 hours, at least. And so, and that's why we took last week off, because it's, we in theater we have what's called Tech Week, which is the last final rehearsals before we perform a show, and I've just, I'm in the theater until late nights, but. Here I was like kind of proud of myself that, I'm writing my notes out for the show today, and I'm like, oh shit, I'm gonna, the guys will think I'm getting my shit together. I started a 12-week program on Wahoo system. And I rode twice this week, and that's it.
That's great.
better
Yeah,
than
twice
zero.
isn't bad.
Yeah.
No, you guys are being nice, and I appreciate
No.
that.
I thought you were going to say twice since you did that test. I was like, oh, God.
I've probably ridden 4 times since I did that test. I'm not gonna lie. I've done some Zwifts, just hop on and ride, and it's kind of funky on Zwift now. I logged on, and it's like, hey, you want to join a ride? And there was one. It was like, oh, it's a social ride, or something like that. It was like a 90-minute thing, and they put that rubber band kind of setting on it. So if you haul ass up the climb, and all of a sudden you get to the top of the climb, and everybody's with you. Mm-hmm. They just go wink back to you.
Nope.
But it wasn't bad, because it's the equivalent of like a no drop ride. So I was near the front with a lot of these people, doing 3 point something watts per kilo, and just kind of going, cramping along, and then to get to the top, and then all of a sudden, wow, everybody's here. So I didn't like get any PRs, because technically the people who just time warped and caught up to me, were faster. But it was cool. I mean, it got me out there, and I did 90 minutes, which is not a lot to say. So I'm also in the middle of a Darebee challenge. I've talked about Darebee, Darebee, quite a bit, and I'm because of how crazy things have been at work. I have this posted in my office. I have it taped to the wall in my office. It's a 10,000 squats in 30 days challenge. And so throughout the day, you have to, like, for example, today I had to do 340 squats. And so throughout the day, I just go like, oh, okay, I got 10 minutes free. I'm going to crank out 100 here. Bum, 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 bum. Body weight only and things like that. And I'm not going to lie, I'm not getting faster, but I'm not in hell, just by doing little things like that, and including that into the plan. So and my next one, I'm going to do a plank challenge where you work in 30 days, you work up to a 5-minute plank.
Holy hell.
I'm like, okay, I need that.
Straight arm or
Bent elbows. Yeah.
I think that's worse.
Do
I
you?
think the elbows is harder.
yeah, because I think you're down a little.
Yeah, you're having to resist the triceps more,
Uh-huh.
as opposed to if
Yep.
you were just locked
You're
out.
locking out. Yep.
Yeah.
I did a system weights workout yesterday, and it asked for like a 20-second plank, and I was like, I was just shaking
body
like
shake.
crazy. Oh yeah! After like 8 seconds, I'm like, I am so fucked, so fucked. But it is that gigantic wake up call, kind of like when you guys just told me that you've been riding, a lot more than me. Jackson doesn't count because he can just like, I think we'll get fit now. Bing, fit. But so I don't know. It's nice hearing these things, and yes, I base my life off of fear, and and so
And
Salty.
guilt.
fear, guilt, a little bit of
misery.
revenge,
Typical Catholic, like
Yeah.
a little bit of revenge, a
You-
little
yeah.
bit of angst, and a fuck ton of alcohol. Talk to me, you guys, about cross training. And are you doing? Is there a plan to do any cross training? And I put that in quotes because like Sam, you talked about cross country skiing and things like that. But is anybody planning any? Is it hot in here, or is it just me?
Just you.
It's just me.
Pretty
fine.
comfortable.
It's my shedding my fat.
Menopause.
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 It's bound to happen.
Yeah.
It's nature's way.
Yeah.
Cross training, fuckers.
oh,
Go ahead.
I would say yeah. I haven't done anything yet besides just my typical like core workout stuff.
Yeah.
Like Paul's yoga. Doing that, just getting ready for like once. Probably in another 2 weeks. I mean, I think the mountain is technically open for cross country skiing last weekend, but the conditions are bad. It's not really fun to go up there when there's rocks and stuff.
Sure.
So in a couple of weeks, I'll go and do that, and I do that once a weekend, and then I'll ride once a weekend. And
I've asked before, and I apologize if I have, but senility slides in. How long do you cross country ski for?
not very long. Yeah, I would be up there for I think a big day would be 2 hours.
That's a big day.
It's a big day. Yeah, like usually it's like you go up there and you're like an hour 15 or something, and you got an awesome workout.
You get up, you load all your shit into the car, you drive all the way there, you put your shit on, you pay the fee for parking, and you ski for an hour and a half.
So
That's
here's the thing.
fucking
I will
stupid.
say this. Really, cross country skiing takes next to nothing. You're in practically your like pajamas, right? Like you're wearing bibs or whatever they are.
Cycling
and-
stuff, basically.
Yeah, cycling stuff. Super easy to get dressed for. And then just throw on your pair of boots and hop in your skis. And it takes next to maybe like 10 minutes to load up the car, if that.
Do
And
you
it's-
wax your skis or you have
Nope,
waxless?
waxless. It's all about simplicity. I'm not here to race. And then when you get up there, it's probably like an hour or something like that. And the cost is $120 for a full season for the car, and you
Well,
can
yeah,
take up as
they're-
many people as you want.
That's not cheap.
$120. You and you would pay nothing.
I can almost
pay
buy two
$120, and I can
tubulars for
take
that.
you and you and you all up.
I can
So
take,
by the end of it, if you add in how many people you've hauled up in the car, you've taken like I don't know, each ticket's like $250.
but we're not going to go.
You
So
will.
No, I won't. No, I'm done with that.
Let's just show up on his doorstep.
I
And
don't.
knock
I,
until-
I've always been
I
into
even got
it.
rid of my skis, everything.
I have extra.
No.
And I'm sure the diva's probably gonna listen to this show, and Mr. Bend, where it's like, oh, we just go outside our door and we're automatically cross country skiing.
You don't have cat tracks.
Did
in
I
your back
mention my
door?
neighbor is a World Cup cross country skier?
Yeah.
So it's I mean, you can go outside your door there. That almost makes a little bit more
I
sense to
would
me.
if I live in Leavenworth, because that's the
Yeah.
same thing. They have like it's within
Yeah.
you
You
out your
speed
back
skate
door.
to work,
Yeah.
kind of a thing
Yeah,
like that.
exactly.
Yeah. Burk,
So
durky, burk, burk. I'm going to speed skate to work.
Or like Switzerland, like they're everywhere in Switzerland.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Yeah.
Jackson, are you're a gym rat.
I think gym rat is quite the term.
Bro.
Yeah. I don't know if my body type necessarily
It totally describes you.
really mounts up to the gym rats. But I will say that, yeah,
You're at the far end of the gym going, quit skipping leg day, you pussy.
yeah, exactly. I'm 6'4" and have like 2% body fat, and I'm,
No.
yeah.
Fuck off.
how much does
But-
the bar weigh again?
Yeah,
Jesus,
seriously.
I can get off
Oh my
chest.
god. Yeah.
But I'll definitely go to the gym. I have this wonderful, wonderful thing being a teacher that is called a 2-week break in the middle of December.
Yeah.
And so that gives me so many opportunities to get fit, because that's why I think I take so much time off. It's not really even that much time off, if I'm being honest. I think that's why I take time off, is because I have those breaks where I'm able to get fit quickly.
Sure.
Again, so yeah, around, like I said, this next week, or well, I guess this week, I'll start getting into that stuff, just kind of chipping away at it.
Not to be therapeutic here, But why am I the only one that has to keep going, or I will become Veruca? No, the Violet Beauregard from Willy Wonka.
Well, I think
I mean, I even am. Like last year, I was in insane shape from coming off the big, ride season.
Yeah.
And then I was so burnt out of bikes that I stopped riding. And then spring came and I'm like, oh, I'm 10 pounds heavier. Shit.
See, I think that's a really interesting point, though,
Yeah.
because it's like we ride so much, and we do take it relatively seriously. And I think we ride so much that it just, like, after a while, when you're in that, like, kind of racy mindset, when you're, race riding with other people, that it's just like, well, God, it's October. Like, I've extended myself as far as I can go for 4 months. Why do I want to keep going? That's how I feel at the end of every season. It's like, oh, I've kind of burned myself out for a year. I might as well wait until the next one. So.
Before we're almost getting to the point. Talk to me about Thanksgiving. For those of you not in the States, this is this little holiday where we celebrate the fact that we basically fucked over an entire culture, and we eat.
And we're thankful about
In celebration.
it.
We eat in celebration of it. Yeah. So are you guys doing anything over the holidays to keep the calories at bay? Do you have like a only one plate rule, or do you do a turkey fucking trot or something like that? Jack's probably going, he's going to text us going, goddamn right I do a turkey trot.
Does a turkey half marathon.
Yeah, he probably does.
Probably.
Yeah. How do you keep the calories at bay? Do you walk? Do you talk politics at the table and get in a gigantic fight, or anything like that?
Talk politics.
Yeah. That burns calories.
does.
Well, no, blood pressure too.
Yeah.
Is another thing. No, I don't. I rarely gorge myself, and I never have on Thanksgiving.
Really?
Because it's usually turkey, but for the last 5 years, I do prime rib. That's where I get myself in trouble. So, which I'm going to do again.
Oh, you are.
Yeah.
My
So-
God, you are just like counter every culture thing,
know.
man. You're just like,
What-
fuck that.
turkey is like the worst.
Really?
Like, to me, food is like bland. I mean, my wife used to stuff the skin with butter and herbs and garlic, and then lettuce, bacon over it. It's like, why don't we just fucking just cook the bacon and scoop out the butter and garlic and spread it on bread,
anything
and then
else.
I'm fine. The rest of the part is not that good, but
That's true. It's a lot of work to add
yeah.
flavor.
to
Or you just not
turkey,
eat
it's
meat.
not good.
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody tries everything, deep frying. Everybody's got some
Oh,
kind of
yeah.
recipe trying to no, I'll tell you how to make them moist. It's like,
Yeah.
no. Half the time after Thanksgiving, you're like, fuck. It's just like,
Then the
you're eating-
tryptophan hits you and you fall asleep.
Yeah.
And it's just like, fuck it.
especially the way we drink too.
Yeah. So is it a no holds barred? You're just like, fuck it. I'm going full. I'm not going to worry about it.
Well, I train in the morning.
Sam's Mr. Vegan. Fuck, I had no idea.
Well, you have a tofu
You're the only
turkey.
guy who's like anything on these diets who just doesn't tell me about it, because everybody on those
also,
fucking
I think
diets
it's kind
is
of
like,
really annoying when people. I mean, that's why, I've always said that. I always claim it because it's the most millennial thing in the world that I'm a choicitarian, not even vegan or anything, right? Like I eat whatever I choose. Yeah, right. So,
yeah.
but anyway,
Choicitarian.
my man, I love pumpkin pie, and I don't know why.
yeah.
And so I've been craving it for the last month. This is just talking on the diet piece. So we were at Costco this last week. There's 3 pumpkin pies in each one of those.
Big.
They're huge. $6.
Wow.
I mean, if we're talking calories,
fucking
Talk
$6.
about a steal right there.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
a steal.
There's they're like a medium pizza.
Yeah.
It's huge.
And I would know.
Yes. You would know. And so my wife's like, Sam, just get it. You've been talking about getting a pumpkin pie for the last month. Just get the pumpkin pie. It's $6. So I get it. And sure enough, I am just happy as could be, eating a quarter of that thing a day. And then here comes yesterday. My mom's like, so this client just dropped off a Costco pumpkin pie. We're not going to eat it. We're going to throw it away. Do you want it? And I'm like, yup. So now I got 2 pumpkin pies in my fridge, and my wife's like, what the hell?
Do you whip cream it?
Oh, yeah, that or none. I don't really care. Whatever is just there. I have whipped cream, but as soon as I run out, I'll just eat it for breakfast.
giving me the vibe of like you'll eat it hot, cold. If it's on the floor,
Anything.
if it's
Yeah,
on my
if it's on the
foot,
door.
he will
Yep.
just devour.
Yep.
Like
If it's on the
That's
door,
exactly
if it's
it.
on the floor, if it's out the whore.
yeah. Well, yeah.
Sorry,
Dr.
I
Seuss.
was trying to go dirty Dr. Seuss there, apparently. But,
Yeah.
yeah. I can't do it without whipped cream, though. I have to have whipped cream on
I can
pumpkin
pass
pie.
I mean,
that.
man, that Costco.
You don't like
have
it?
you had the Costco one though? It's
No.
like pumpkin pudding. Like that thing is not. It's so sugary already. Like it's so good.
Paul's getting
It's gut
sick.
rot.
He's getting sick.
My boss used to call it, my old boss, who I worked for years, he called it squash pie because it sounded healthier. Because it's part of the squash family.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
guilt-free.
Jackson, what's your rule on Thanksgiving? You're I don't mean to sound so bitter. But apparently that's just the character I've assumed on this show. You're gonna just be like, I'm gonna eat whatever I want, but I'm gonna get full after half a plate, and then I'm gonna have a couple drinks, and then I'm gonna just be happy, isn't it?
In a
Am I
way,
right?
yeah, you're kind of on the right track. You know, I
Get another beer.
you know, like I know,
That'll fix it.
yeah, exactly. I know like what I can and can't eat in terms of size. Yeah, it's usually like one plate, and then I just kind of eat until I am full. I don't really need to go over that, and then yeah, after that, it's just if I can't eat any more, I'll maybe have a little bit of pie, but that's about it. It's not really like a worry about quantity for me. It's just like
Yeah.
I do get full rather quickly, so
You do.
that's
Man, I'll eat so much.
Good pour.
Thanks.
Unreal.
Is there a way to get that on
Sometimes it happens. Let's see. Yes.
Amateur hour.
Oh, that one. There we go.
That's beautiful.
Actually, it's better than it was when I first held it up, too. So that's good. I know we're supposed to be talking about bike racing, and we will. I promise. But my Thanksgiving this year is going to be a very interesting one. I'm going to the current boyfriend of my mother-in-law's. If you know Washington, and if you know the Tri-Cities, yeah, they're not going to listen. They're not going to listen.
We can describe
I
this
call it the
better.
dry shitties.
Yep.
Yeah, it's actually not a bad area.
Does anybody remember Mordor from
Over my head.
from the Hobbit,
From
from,
The
the
Hobbit.
Lord of the Rings?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
the shittiest place on earth.
So I'm going to Pasco, Washington, and my wife and I are taking our RV, and we're sleeping in our RV because there are people sleeping in the house, kind of a thing. It's one of those things, and on top of that, it is now the apparently it's become this. Oh, great! You guys are coming. Pat can cook the turkey, and Pat can cook this, and I'm like, so I'm just the Thanksgiving bitch, apparently.
Is it nice to not have to host Thanksgiving and then have to host Thanksgiving?
Pretty much, yeah. I'm
And not
just
even have your own bed to
setting the
sleep in
ta-
it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Although the RV is actually nice because
Yeah.
in case you haven't
I
been
wouldn't know.
able
I've
to
never
tell,
been invited in.
in case you haven't been able to tell, I'm a little bit of an asshole sometimes, and so I get fed up easily, and so it's very nice for me to have a place to go and take a little nap and rage at just punch shit. I'm kidding. I don't really do that. Maybe a little bit, but it's good. So it'll be good. I was thinking about taking a bike because it's going to be in the upper 40s.
The weather's changed a little bit. When was the
Yeah,
last
it
time you
has.
looked?
It has. It's all ice now, and so I'm not.
And the thing is that, like, yeah, I mean, there it's not going to get warm until afternoon.
Yeah.
where it'll be ice free.
It's
Yeah.
not like you'd be doing any climbing.
There's
You guys are depressing the fuck out of me, even more than normal.
there was a
Runs
race
very far.
out of Tri-Cities. It was a good race.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Horsehaven.
Horsehaven.
Yeah, yeah.
There's some
Well,
good climbing, and now there's vineyards there. You know?
I was about to say, where is it now?
It's all,
Nobody wanted to go.
No,
Yeah.
Nobody wanted to go.
Yeah.
Okay, let me ask you another question. What is the bare minimum in order for you to pedal your bike outside? I'm talking like temperature, conditions, things like that. It's like, especially as the winter starts to wane, we all start to kind of go like, okay, it's almost there. I'm fucking going. What is the bare minimum for you to put on all the gear? I don't know about you guys. I actually get winded putting on shoe covers.
Oh,
these days.
God.
Oh, Jesus Christ!
If you put on Velo toes, it's a whole nother game.
Yeah. My
Set
wife
aside
looks at me. She's like,
15
going,
minutes.
"What the fuck's wrong with you?" I'm like, going, "Put on my shoe covers."
Yeah. I don't have zippers anymore.
Yeah.
For me, I've just realized that it's like there's this object that's in the middle of me and getting to my toes now that I'm like,
You're making the noise already. But so, what's the bare minimum? Is it freezing? Is it 40 degrees? Is it?
oh God.
Paul, I know, is just going to be like going, I can't go out until it's 60, or my hands will look like they're.
I go out anyway, but
Mr.
the thing
Cold
is
Miser.
I have a wife that's so concerned because of my age that I'm going to break a hip that I can't go out. That's what's keeping me, because there's a couple, like last weekend, I'm thinking, there's dry pavement.
I'd be more
Yeah,
afraid
it's
of her
like-
than a broken hip.
Yeah, she's a
German.
yeah.
Yeah.
So that scares the hell out of me every once in a while, So, not once in a while, all the time.
Every day.
But,
Every day.
Yeah.
I wake up in terror.
Yeah. That's right.
I've never been calm
Actually,
for the past 4 years.
I wake up a little happy because she hasn't stuffed a knife in my throat. I'm
Mine-
kidding.
That's right.
I'm kidding. But anyway,
I almost said something really bad.
Yeah.
I'm glad I did. I backed off. Anyway.
we don't edit, Paul.
Yeah, I know. This one. Woo!
Quick, make a note.
Yeah. That would have been.
32
I would
minutes.
be off the show. Yeah.
Paul's not back next week.
Talking about heart rate. I wish I had my heart rate monitor on that thing. Just... Wow. Anyway. No, I mean, I used to go out in my 20s, no obligations,
Yeah.
no wife, no kids, no mortgage. I'd go out. There's one time, Dismount and I gave him a call, and I said, let's go for a ride tomorrow. He said, sure, what time? And I told him, I said, noon is supposed to be, start climbing up in temperature.
Yeah.
And he calls me at 11. He goes, you sure you want to do this? It's like -2. No, we could do this, man. You and I, because think about all those stupid bastards sitting in their nice little warm home, and we're going to be working out and stuff.
I had
We
a
took
rowing
off.
coach who used to say, let's get one up on those fuckers every day when it
that's
was
the
horrible
mindset.
weather.
You have
Yeah,
to tell
yeah,
yourself,
yeah.
because once you start rolling down, and where I live, you drop down into downtown, I got an ice cream headache.
Yeah.
I'm like, my fingers were just like done within, it's probably like a mile. And I said, I can't do this. And he goes, thank God, because I was done. We climbed back up to my house, and we had coffee, and I think we drank. Well, Dave and I always drink. So, and then I drove him home. It was negative degrees.
I used to do some insane mountain bike rides with the late great Bruce Hunt.
Oh, yeah.
And we would go out all year round for 2 to 3 hour mountain bike rides in the middle of the winter.
Yeah.
And just we called them Zamboni rides because somebody would hit a patch of ice and fall on it and clear it off for the next person. It's like, thanks, you Zamboni'd it for me. Now I know it's there. And so, but I haven't done. It's since the onset of the Smart Trainer, I have not gone outside until it is. New Year's Day, we always make a joke to go out and do that ride. It's just like an hour with a shot of schnapps, halfway through the ride. But I have not. I don't think I'll go out above freezing.
Well, last year, funnily enough, we did go out below
We
freezing.
did. Those
on
were great
29.
rides, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was 29 last year, I remember, because I started to get a little stir crazy.
Yeah.
But I think that's what really gets me out is my stir craziness. I remember last year we all three were talking about me buying bibs, and then I did, and
Rafa.
yeah, I know. But
Move to Bend.
yeah, but I think anything above I would prefer above 30 degrees personally.
Yeah.
But it's really just dependent on how much I hate my trainer.
I think is that the case? We snap.
I mean, once again, I'm the odd guy out. Cross country skiing, you get the fresh air dose, and so I don't really get that stir craziness.
Dose?
until-
I mean, in 90 minutes, that's not much of a dose.
You're exhausted after 9.
Yeah.
Yeah. And balance.
Oh,
Balance.
I'm a skier, motherfucker.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, it's balance, like, shorter duration,
downhill
but you're
skier.
still, like,
Oh, balance of time, not balance of body.
Yeah,
like,
no. I'm
oh,
talking
okay.
like you still get
Vestibular
that,
sense.
Yeah,
I was thinking,
no.
yeah, okay.
I'm talking like balance of time and stuff. It's just you get out, you get a quick dose of like fresh air. And,
Yeah.
Because unless it's 50, like when was that? What was it 50 for our last ride? It had to have been.
Might have been, yeah.
I think it
Close to.
started lower for sure, but I think that it got up to 50, and it has to at least hit that, and then there has to be at least 3 other people.
Yeah. Would you guys fat bike if somebody gave you one?
No,
Paul says no.
that was quick and easy.
Wow, that was just.
Yeah.
If somebody gave me
Stupid.
one, I would do commuting.
Really?
Maybe
Just commuting.
Riverside.
Okay.
I would not go out on like the bluff and like do.
Pedal around.
Yeah.
God, I did some night rides off the bluff back in my mountain bike days that were really fun.
In
But
the snow?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Didn't
Jackson?
crash?
No.
You're
Jackson,
better.
would you fat bike
Yeah.
if somebody gave you one? I think I would too. I do. I genuinely do. Just simply because of my. It was around the time Jackson was an infant. You were young. I would go out on Tuesdays and Thursdays, meet people at this trailhead, which is fortunately, 8 blocks away, and we'd have lights, and there would be times where I would shut off my light because the moon would
Yeah.
just we
Especially
knew where
with
to go.
snow, it's
Yeah,
fun.
and it was therapeutic. I loved it, and maybe an hour. Not I busted your balls on,
Yeah, I know.
on cross country skiing, but because that's dumb. But but it was nice. It was really nice. I'd come home, hour after I left the house, and it'd be like, hey, blah, 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 blah. It was fun. It was
The funnest
I
I've
would
ever
do it
done.
on a fat bike.
In the snow, we had probably 26-inch wheels.
Yeah.
mountain bikes.
Yeah.
And so we had it's almost axle deep, and we rode up to Comstock Park. For those who don't know, it's flat as a pancake.
Yeah.
And we'd sprint from one end to the other, and we'd play bumper bikes. Oh. So you sprint, and somebody's getting ahead of you, and you just boom, just right. You just pile up, and you just land. It was so soft and stuff like that. But it was a lot of fun. We just chase each other, and that was a blast. But
Maybe that's what we need instead of fat bikes. We all need to bust out a 26-inch mountain bike that we all probably have in our well, I have in my basement. Yeah, and just turn it into a bumper bike.
yeah,
Just a
Deep
bike that
snow,
you don't give a
like-
fuck about damaging. You dive off of it when you're having a good time. Maybe that's a motivational factor.
yeah.
There we go. So since we're on this topic, let's shoot right to the topic for tonight's show, brought to us by our friends at Wahoo Fitness. You know all that Wahoo, it's kind of ironic that Wahoo has to offer, and the amazing quality of the said offerings, trainers, computers, even platforms such as System, RGT, and the classic Sufferfest. Be sure to use the link to get them off of Packfiller, as we know that we sent you to them. Yeah. I haven't been drinking bourbon, I promise. Sam was the brainchild on this one. And we talk about the time demands that the sport requires, even at the lowest level. Think about it. When I was training for my marathon, I'm not saying that to blow smoke up my own asshole, but I'm saying it in terms of the training for a marathon. The longest run I did as a average, normal, just person who wanted to do it was about 22 miles. The longest run I did. Which, though, even let's say worst case scenario, I was doing a 10-minute mile, is 220 minutes, right, or about 3.5 hours, and that's running slowly. So, and not the distance that I was doing all the time. Those were my big runs, usually one day a week. So for a cyclist, especially one who wants to be competitive, 3 hours is kind of the norm. Am I right? So that's a common element. So if I was to get really serious, I'd already be doing 4 to 5 workouts a week. If back in, this is again my guilt-riddled brain that's thinking, if I'm not doing 4 to 5 workouts a week, you fuckers are riding away from me. 1 hour at the minimum nowadays in November, December, January. and up to about 3 hours. But that would grow as the spring approached. So I'm a married man. My wife isn't a cyclist. She rides, but she's not a cyclist. And something that made me think the other day, today I saw a post of a gravel rider who nicknamed his bike the Other Woman.
Was he on your show?
Well,
one of the guys on
he
the
was
show?
one of the guys. Now Justin, actually, because that's who you're probably talking to.
No,
Justin
I was
made,
talking to. There's another guy
Oh.
who was single.
Oh, okay.
And I can't remember his name. He was on there, and
Ethan. Threethan?
was that the
Yeah. Or Themo?
Themo?
No,
It was
he's married.
Ethan.
But it was interesting because he spent so much time with his bike that his significant other made the joke that that's the other woman. And it caught me. First of all, that his significant other would jokingly go with that.
My wife said the same thing.
Did she?
She calls it my other woman. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
So let's talk about the demands of the sport. And I know we've touched base on this in the show before, but it's an interesting topic to come back to. We got a guy who's going to be married here soon. And even though our demands of the sport are self-imposed, we don't have to do what we do. We're not getting paid to do what we do. And how we balance everything out. So talk to me about your life's obligations that take you away from cycling. Let's start with the things that take you away from the sport, and things that you have to do.
Work.
Yeah, work.
Yeah.
I know that's like
without a doubt.
the first
Yeah,
thing is work.
yeah.
And then I mean, like all of the house chores, I would say, like those are the other like biggest time suck of my life, right? But then you have to split like the joys, and that's hanging out with the wife, going on walks with the dog, and they're just
Scooping poop.
scooping poop in the backyard.
Right.
Yeah.
Litter box.
But I think like
Yep,
biggest
litter
time
box.
suck.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I think I mean, for me, work is a big one. It's a pretty tiresome day. But then also I have other things that I get interested in, I have little like side projects here and there that I find fun, and I think that's one reason why I continue to ride my bike is just because I find other things in off seasons that I get interested in, and eventually I get really interested in bikes again. And so those are like the things that kind of take me away from it. But I mean, I don't think it's a bad thing that I have things that take me away from it. I guess that's why I would say myself that I have a balanced life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I find that, yes, of course, the job and things like that. Now I'll get to that later. Life commitments. And I don't want to turn this show into a spouse bash. Where all of a sudden everybody thinks that there is this other person in our lives that is just, don't you fucking dare ride your bike anymore. Because that's not, I can guarantee, and I can speak for all of us, that that's not the situation here. Cycling does demand a lot of time, though, and a lot of selfish time. And I immediately thought about it while I was asking you guys the initial question. This show, you guys all aren't. I'm at home. You guys aren't at home. I mean, and is that a part of your cycling time when it comes to not asking permission? I don't want to turn it into this. Jackson's thinking of something.
Yeah, no, I think something that I think about a lot, but I also talk to my fiance a lot about is, as a male cyclist, I think that the male cycling community in itself has really created this dialogue about the fact that a wife or a significant other is more of a ball and chain, or like an inhibitor,
Really,
than a supporter. And I think that that dialogue has really been created
Yeah.
a lot of the time. I mean, you see it on social media, you see it everywhere, even in creating jokes about this thing. But it's just like, I think that that state of mind almost needs to be changed, because I am seeing I do see a lot of it, but in reality, it's not necessarily asking permission. It's more of finding a balance.
Yeah.
You know, and I mean, like, I'm in a very lucky situation. She's not at home right now. She's at work. So, like, that works well for me.
Sure.
But it's also, I think the narrative of asking permission creates almost this child parent type of mindset. And, like, we as the male side of a relationship or as a straight relationship is very, like, is always searching for that, like, permission. And I think that's a really weird narrative that we as cyclists has created that's just kind of not real, almost. That almost kind of needs to end.
Yeah, you totally nailed that. I mean, just like in the sense of like, yeah, why'd I have to ask, like, asking permission? That's so weird. It's one of those things, I don't know.
I gotta check in with the old ball and chain.
Exactly.
It's like, fuck, that's
so-
not how it is.
You're painting them as being like, the enemy here. You know, just out of the gates.
You imagine this person with their arms crossed, tapping one of their feet.
Right, which is not fair to them. But like, you hit it on the head, because for instance, this show in particular, just because we didn't do it last week, so we were out of like the rhythm of it. And,
Sure.
you know, my wife asked, "What are we having for dinner?" And so, you know, we were trying to come up with it, and in the back of my mind, I'm like, well, I'm coming here, so, you know, we'll find out something for her. And so anyway, I'm getting ready to go here, and she goes, "So what are we doing for dinner?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm going to the podcast." And she's like, "Oh," and that's when my soul died. I was like, oh, let the guilt set in. And she's not like, she's like, "Oh, cool, have fun with your friends." And part of me is like, thank you. You know, like,
It's not
nothing
just
but
fun with
supportive.
their friends. It's a real business.
Exactly.
We're gonna be huge.
But like, she's nothing but
get
supportive,
rich
and I
doing
feel
this.
total guilt.
Paul, you
I've
you
been
have
through
the German.
Oh yeah, I've got a German. Before that, I had a practice marriage on this whole thing. So
A practice marriage?
practice wife and everything. So yeah, I mean, you know, my practice wife when she met me.
Some of us get two cracks.
I mean, I was heavy into cycling, and I know the demands because I had this small little door because I started late, right? I started when I was 22 years old. By the time I was 26, I'm realizing I'm seeing the door close. I had a chance to go to race in France, and I chose cycling because I'm not cycling. I chose going back to college because I knew that I really, down deep, I didn't have it. And I had all these people are really nice that's sponsoring me, and if I fell, you know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah.
So I have no regrets. It's just one of those times that I don't know. But anyway, at that tipping point, I decided to go to college. That's when I met my practice wife. And
Nice.
and so she thought it was pretty cool. And here's the problem, I think, with road cycling, probably in all endurance sports, because when I worked at a bike shop, this happened to triathletes. Huge. Maybe a little bit more than road cyclists.
They dyed their hair with highlights.
Well, that, and then
They cut
all
off
of a
their
sudden
fucking
they go
sleeves.
through. Cut up.
And they
And
got
wear
really
arm
shitty
warmers.
at 3 sports.
Why do you?
Sorry,
Just mediocre at all three.
Yeah.
So, but
True.
it's that time consuming, and like this balance with if you choose somebody to be in your life, you have to give them that time. This is, and each individual, your partner, to me, they will let you know. It's very obvious with my wife, who's German, you know, that's just footballton. You know, she's like, no, she would say, no, you don't get to go. But we were kind of joking about asking permission. For her, it's if I have a plan saying this is, if I laid it down like a month ahead, I'm
Classic.
going, she knows podcast Tuesday, she can plan something for her time. She right now is just soaking in a hot tub, not listening to us. But I'm just saying.
You know
she's
they make
in a hot
mobile
tub.
speakers. She could probably.
No, she doesn't want one.
She's just like, you're ruining
She
my hot tub."
doesn't. She's not into cycling
I'm joking.
whatsoever.
Yeah.
Because I brought up the Teo de Roy thing. and I had to go through, and she's like, beige, what? Yeah, I think we need to change the color here, beige. I was talking about Teo DeRoy. So, anyway, getting back to that, I think everybody needs to, if you're getting into a relationship, so I'm going to digress. I was going to give a big push from 22 to 26.
What?
Yeah,
You're digressing?
I'm digressing.
If you blame this on fucking brakes or tires, I'm going to shit myself.
No, has nothing to do with that because we were all on rim brakes at that time, so things were good.
Okay.
So anyway,
Practice wife. I still can't get over practice wife.
So anyway, from that time, I didn't date. I didn't. I knew this is what I was going to try and tackle. I went as far as I could. Then I realized you kind of hit this plateau, and I had the opportunity to go to Europe, and I decided not to. It's over. So now it became, and I'm happy now at approaching 60 in a month that, this is still a huge part of my life, and I get out of kilter every once in a while, and my wife says, I thought we were going to do this, or this is out of our schedule.
Yeah.
Then I have to reel it back. So
do you guys, and it's kind of interesting. There was one question I wrote, the argument, the quote, you knew what you were getting into when you met me, end quote, type of a thing. Yeah. I mean, it's like you knew you were getting married to a cyclist. You knew I needed this time.
You knew I was a psychopath.
Yeah.
Narcissist.
You don't fucking change me. Yeah, you can't change me. Which we can all agree is the most selfish argument that could be thrown out there. I always ask my wife, when for example, if we're going someplace like Thanksgiving this week, I said, "Can I bring a bike?" And again, I don't want this to sound like I'm asking for permission. I'm like, actually, I should say, you cool if I bring a bike, I it's not like if she says no that I can't, but it is out of respect that she'll look at me and she'll say, well, we're spending some time with family, and if you disappear for 3 hours, that makes you look like kind of a dickhead.
It's open communication rather than asking for permission.
Exactly. You're starting the conversation between the two of you.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, as males, we think not as broad as women. They bring out like, well, if you go for 3 hours, right? Yeah. Well, at this time, we're blah, blah, blah. Start pointing this out.
Yeah.
So
right.
And they're like going, oh.
Are there specific in your current relationships? Are there specific days or times or moments? Paul, you mentioned like Tuesday's podcast night. Are there nights and days and times and hours that you have set aside for? It's like, this is my buffer window, or do you just kind of keep it floating where you're saying, hey, I'm gonna go for a 3-hour ride on Saturday? And how often? How far in advance do you do that?
I mean, for me at least, I usually just kind of plan it during the week, If something if we plan something during the weekend, then I'll say that I usually pose the question if I'm really worried about it on like Monday or Tuesday. Yeah. And then just kind of get everything planned out. If that happens, then it's fine, as long as you do it just like a little earlier in advance and I'll let the other person know. That's what I've found is great. Just not springing something, just as not just in romantic relationships, but in every relationship, as long as you give them enough further notice, they're not.
You've run into the situation that I found myself when you were a kid playing soccer, that I was like, I am going to go for the ride and I will be back by this time. And if the ride went a little longer, I am fucking going balls out. I am like anaerobic trying to get home and stuff like that. And there have been rides that you've just been like riding off into the distance. I'm like going, Jackson probably told his fiance he was going to be home at 11, and it's 10:48.
Well, and it's not, and with that, it's not necessarily like I'm worried about getting in trouble. Like I said, it's not a parent-child relationship. It's more of a like out of respect for the other.
Absolutely.
Because when I make a commitment, I am somebody, especially with time, that keeps with it. I hate being late. That is my thing. that
Sam
I
doesn't.
despise.
Nope.
You don't hate being late?
Well,
Really?
no, I do hate being late, but when
Sorry.
I'm on the shitter.
My
it's
bad.
a ride.
I got up.
No,
yeah.
But like that's my thing. Like being late makes me like extremely stressed out, and I think that's why during a ride I like extend myself further so I can get to a specific place at a specific time because I made that commitment.
Yeah.
And commitments are really big with me. So
Am I the only one that follows the rule that it's like if you think you're going on a 3-hour ride, tell somebody that you're going to be gone 4 hours?
That's
It's not lying.
that's wisdom.
It's not lying, right?
Yeah, you're
it's
just
not
smarter.
lying.
Yeah, you got it because it's always a bonus if you come in within that hour, and it's
Yeah.
not. Again, it makes it sound like they got a timer. It's like
It's you motherfucker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it is.
But
It's,
they
it's,
plan, right? I mean, that's the thing. Is like
Yeah.
I'll be back at noon, and they're like, okay, well, I'm anticipating that you're going to be back at noon, so that I can
Yeah.
do. It's just
We
like
can do
showing up
something.
late
Yeah.
to a bike ride.
It's
Yeah.
more
Poor-
respect.
Yeah,
You're doing
Yeah.
it out of respect for the person.
yeah.
Do you guys know anybody who's let it gone too far?
Oh God.
Who's gone past the point of I'm training for something to the point of obsession to the point of fucking up a relationship.
I mentioned I had a practice marriage, right?
You-
I was just thought
Oh,
I'd point that out.
In
Winner.
this room, I
Yeah.
know somebody.
yeah.
Yeah, man, I know so
Hey,
many
Paul.
people.
no, yeah, sorry, that wasn't the one I wanted, but anyway,
I know so many people that have unfortunately either like had breakups and or like ended marriages even
really,
because of that, and it's just sad. Like it's to end up getting lost with something like an inanimate thank you
Yep.
object.
Another drink.
Should I do
Inanimate.
if you just added enough inanimate objects?
Don't hurt yourself, kid.
Yeah.
Somebody's got to get the quote.
Then you'll like don't ever replace your relationship with something like that. Like those are the things that are going to go important. But unfortunately, it gets lost. And I feel like cycling is in endurance sports are special in that way. Like and that they will or unique, I guess, not special.
and we all can agree that there's a certain amount of selfishness involved,
without a doubt.
self-focus. When you're trying to, yes, cycling is a team sport, but we all admit that we're the one who wants to be the person finishing with their arms aloft. So there is that selfish nature to it, and it is a time-consuming sport. So we end up running into this challenge of I really want to do this, but balancing out, is it that important? Is winning that race that important as opposed to getting that PR that important to potentially damaging something in my home life? And I can think of people, I'm seeing them in my mind right now, who have made the decision to go the other way, who have made the decision that the sport is more important. And I can only imagine the life of a professional. When you see some of these pro riders who have 4 kids, and you're going, how the fuck does this poor person
But
do
that's
this?
their job,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like, I mean, that would just be like you working a full-time job or Michelle working a full-time job and then the other person being a stay-at-home parent, right? I mean, it's not like that
yeah, but,
professional isn't working
yeah.
a full-time job and then riding a full-time
But
job.
I would be the person who Tadej Pogacar rolls into the house exhausted from a ride, and I'd be like, take these fucking kids. I'm exhausted.
Yeah,
dealing
no,
with
you're
fucking
right.
kids.
Yeah.
His wife is a cyclist too, so
Oh,
she totally understands.
well, never mind. Okay.
Bad example.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I
we
get
get
what
your
you're going
drift.
with it.
Yeah,
I get what
we
you're
do.
going with it
We do.
because
Yeah.
it's just the difference.
Kathy Lamond. Kathy Lamond. I bet she'd be just like, take these fucking kids and shut up.
I don't know. I
Kathy's-
think
Kathy's-
Kathy knew. I mean, they started young,
Yeah.
and they developed. I think that's part of it. They've been together. They're soulmates without a doubt.
Yeah.
But they know how to make it work.
Yeah.
And I think that's an individual basis. I mean, my wife's different than your wife and your
Yeah.
your future wife. And,
Yeah.
I can see when I look back, she's not a fan of cycling. She knows that I'm passionate about it, and she allows that, and that's fine. There's that wiggle room for that.
Yeah.
But the times that she actually enjoyed it is when she got involved, like when she motor paced me. She thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
But outside of that, she doesn't want to watch.
She doesn't watch races.
When we went to Paris-Roubaix in 2013, she's like, I said, I got to get a camera and take pictures. She goes, I'll take pictures. You watch the race. And so, and that's what she ended up doing. And I was actually grabbing her by the coat, and she was hanging out as they're coming towards everybody and taking pictures. And I'd pull her back when riders were coming and stuff like that.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
So, that's a relationship.
She was doing that because she knew how important it was to
Yeah,
you.
exactly.
Yeah.
That's something you develop. Some people, Ashton Lambie, I just heard an interview on Matt Stevens, and you interviewed both of those people. Another ring, please, because there's two. There we go.
That's true.
But
He would like his other gold star.
his wife is a cyclist too. Now she's an astronaut. Now think about that schedule.
Think about being off planet.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
she's going through this.
No, I'm not going to
huge
do the
testing.
fucking dishes. I'm on the moon.
But everybody's got to find. Every individual's got to find with their partner their balance, and that's a thing. And don't let cycling. If the percentage of people who get into cycling that are going to make it to the pro tour and even be
God, give me a
it's
break.
slim.
Yeah.
But
I'm gonna
that's
be there.
what we're chasing. Good luck. And
I'm a couple intervals away.
We're a couple intervals away, bro.
Yeah.
yeah.
Sam, your wife, your significant other, would you classify her as a cyclist?
Yes.
Jackson. No. Yeah, neither would I. So that's an interesting way to look at it. So
God, I got it the best.
you do. You win.
I win.
My wife has bikes
This is a
in this house.
competition.
My wife has bikes in this house, and she and I have ridden the fuck out of a tandem. And in fact,
That's rad.
We did a tour of Germany, Austria, Liechtenstein. I think that's it. In Switzerland. And on the tandem, and up to 80 miles.
You
in a
flew it
day.
over there, or did you?
Yeah,
go?
flew it over
Wow.
there. It was a great ride, cool experience, and it was one of the greatest things that she and I have done together. We had Jackson.
Yeah, that was pretty great.
Wow.
But it was
Close
such a cool
second.
experience. And she looks at me and she says, "God, I miss that." And our lives are in the way, and I'm still this bike racing idiot. But we agreed on, even before we were married, that Saturday mornings, she looked at me one day, Saturday mornings, you're riding, you're on your bike, you're doing something. She looked at me and said that, and I was like, oh, okay. That was back in the days of when a group the Bruce Hunt days, when people would get together and ride. And that's when a lot of us tend to get together. And she just said, I am making that an ongoing, and if it doesn't happen, okay, we'll do something else. But that has always been an ongoing rule in the house, and I don't want to make it again. Why do we all feel so weird talking about this? Like we're asking permission, like we're being given a time. Well, I guess that's what makes the fact that all of us are still with our significant other, because we're worried about it. We're not worried about getting in trouble. We're worried about taking too much out of the relationship.
I think that's just a caring relationship, is what I would say, as opposed to like the other guys who are no longer with said practice wives, and like it's a less selfish way to do it, right?
If you had no obligations, if you had carte blanche to ride your bike, how much more would you ride than you currently do?
Oh man,
2 times, 3 times, easy.
Two to three times more.
Yeah.
I mean,
Easy.
I'm talking relationship wise, not job obligations.
If I didn't have,
if there was nobody at home,
nobody at home,
yeah,
and so I'm a single guy, 2 to 3 times what I'm doing, easy. Yeah, easy.
2 to 3 fold, or 2 to 3 more days per week.
I would probably, probably look at it like I would probably be able to wake up early in the morning, do a morning ride, catch like whatever in the afternoon.
Yeah.
Which I don't do now.
Yeah.
I don't ride during the week. I mean, there's nothing to worry about. So, yeah.
I don't know how much I'd really change if I'm being honest. I mean, I really enjoy the life that I lead right now, so I think that as poor grammar as it is, if it ain't broke,
Don't
fix
it.
it.
Yeah, don't fix
Good
it.
man.
I honestly think I would ride less. Like there have been many times
get
in
what you
my
mean,
life, that my wife is like, "You need to go ride," and I'm like, "Yeah, you're right. I should do that." As opposed to like, God, guys, I'm such a piece of shit. I'd probably like play video games or something stupid. Like
Yeah.
I would waste so much time. I'm so glad that
video
I have
games
like,
aren't stupid, Sam. They're fun. Damn it.
but like, I mean, there's so many other things that I'm sure that I would get lost in, and then just be like, oh man, I'm not really feel kind of ugh. And
Yeah.
it's like biking makes me, it's like any other endorphin rush, right? Like it makes you feel good. And my wife's always been like, yeah, go ride your frickin' bike.
Really?
I'm like, oh yeah, good point. I'm gonna do that. She's the one that always asks me like, you riding with your friends this weekend? And I'm like, oh yeah, I should see what they're doing. You know?
Really.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's such an integral part of my life that I think my wife understands that it's needed, but I don't, I haven't ridden very often in the past probably 8 weeks, but just getting on and doing something like that is so critical.
Do you think that you would
It's a
ride
peace
more
of
though?
mind. I've been married for too long. I can't imagine that world.
I base it off of my wife was
I
gone.
swear I'm not trying to be funny. It's just I truly can't.
But for me, I think the reality was my wife went for 20 days with a friend to England,
Yeah.
Scotland.
You
and
rode like a
Ireland.
motherfucker.
I
Yeah,
was like,
yeah.
I know that's reality.
totally.
But when she came back, the thing is you've made a commitment to another person, and you have
Yeah.
to be obligated to that. So she works every other weekend. So it sounds bad, and it's not one of those things I've got a collar and she's holding me back. But when she's sleeping, the best thing I can do is be out of the house, not making noise, because she works from 1900 or 7 o'clock at night to 7 in the morning, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So if I can just get out of the house, it's like I have no obligations. I can ride for 5, 6, 8 hours, stop at Benedito's, grab a beer, do whatever I want, scratch my crotch, that type of thing.
Wait,
so
honey,
and I need that every once in a while.
Honey, you just get some sleep. I'm
Yeah.
gonna go out. Yeah.
I feel that way, But on the weekends that she is home, she knows that. That's why I try and do it as early as possible. Yeah. And so then I have to give her a time. I have a short ride, which is 2 hours, within 2 hours, 2.5. A medium ride is 3.5, maybe pushing 4. A long ride's over 4.
Long ride's over 4? My long ride's 4.
My long ride's over 3.
Yeah.
My short ride's like hour and a half.
I do a lot of medium rides.
Do you?
Yeah. So, but the thing is when things come up, grandkids' birthdays, that type of thing, she's like, she'll actually come to me and say, I know you have a ride plan, but this Saturday, our grandson's birthday or blah, 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 blah. And it's like, don't have to go.
Yeah.
I mean, so.
Okay, here's an odd thing that's been approached by a lot of male cyclists or female cyclists. I apologize. I don't mean that to sound gender specific.
No, men are stupider.
Well, yeah. The concept of thinking to yourself that I'm going to buy my significant other an e-bike and we are going to ride together on, this person's going to be on an e-bike, we're going to be able to ride together, and there's a certain part of me that's like going, that is such a fucking insult to say, here, I bought you a bike that has a mechanical assistance. Will you go ride with me now?
I don't think of it.
Am I fucked up in thinking this?
You are.
Really?
I don't see that at all.
Here,
Like,
honey, I bought you a crutch.
Yeah, if my wife wants me to play soccer, buy me a coach outfit, and I'm sitting on the sideline. Like I'm not interested in So it's just one of those things where I'm like, hey, if you would like to. I mean, my life is different because my wife enjoys going out and riding with me, and she can do it. But
you are speaking on it as
good
some
point.
sort of a
Jackson,
fucking
take it
expert.
over. Yeah, Paul, who's got a thing for this? Anyone else?
I think that no, it's I got to get back into it. So I think that I don't think it's really bad to think that like I want to get my significant other an e-bike so we can keep the same pace. It's saying right now that my fiance and I could go out on a ride and keep pace on every single section of every single road is unrealistic.
Yeah.
I will be honest, because she doesn't train to be a bike racer.
Yeah.
I train to race my bike and win bike races.
Yeah.
And so it's going to be different fitness levels. And so I think that if there is a mechanical or electric like assist that can keep us in the same area so we can actually sit next to each other, look at one another, speak to one another. Bless you. I think that
I muted my mic, but thank you for saying that.
But I think that I don't think there's anything bad with that. In fact, I feel like that's a bonding moment that not a lot of couples get to share.
Well, I think it depends on.
Bless you.
Stop it! I mute my mic.
I think it depends on the individual. My wife has no interest in being on a bike.
Really?
Yeah.
Her
Get
little
Vespa.
her little her little scooter is fine, and that's our bonding point. But to ride, so I think it's individual basis. I mean, if your wife was like, "Yeah, I'd like to be able to see what you ride with these guys," would it be okay if I came along, with an e-bike, and I can hang with you guys and see what you're talking about, that type of thing. And I know that it sounds like, well, they can't stand with me. Yeah, and she doesn't really care about
I'm just
all
saying
that.
That'd be a freaking awesome time.
Well, to her, it's cycling is not unlike everybody else here. Their wives at least ride a bike. My wife will not ride a bike.
Yeah.
She's got a cruiser that kicks around. We go to a park or something like
Sure.
that. But no interest, not any interest at all. But so I don't think it's a bad thing, and I think it's an individual thing that if your significant other wants to ride along with you, if e-bike works, it works. I don't think it's sliding.
Michelle has always said that she misses the times of our tandem rides because we would go out on group rides on the tandem, and my God, that thing on the flats was just motor. I mean, flat and rolling hills was just motor, and she misses that. And we talk about the fact that I bought her. No, I didn't buy her. We bought a gravel bike for her about a year ago, and it's collecting dust, and just simply because she doesn't feel comfortable, especially going out by herself. And so I talked to her about the concept of a gravel bike, of an e-bike, and she was like, it sounds kind of fun, but I didn't want to make it sound like it's an insult. It's like, oh, you're slower than me, so I'm going to get you this electronic assistance. And I don't want to be that guy. I don't want to be that cocksucker who's so full of himself that just says these things. And so it's a.
Do you have to say that? I think your partner well enough that it's just like, hey, listen, if you want to, them, whether they're a talented rider or not a talented rider,
Yeah.
you just
She's
say
not
here's
going to
an
go
option.
out on a group ride with us.
Yeah, but
she's
you,
not going to
you
do that.
and
But she and I could go out on a 20 to 30 mile gravel ride or a road ride
Yeah.
and have a wonderful time.
road ride. That'd be
Yeah,
best.
yeah, you're right. But I also think that she, because our time on our tandem has been so long that she's not used to sitting on a saddle very long. And when you're in a tandem, if you're going to stand up, the other person has to stand up, and you have to make this in sync agreement of things. And I always said to her, a single would be really good for you to get back into the sport because you can, if your ass is sore, you can stand up.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so that was our big element. I mean, we have a road tandem, we have a gravel tandem, not a gravel, a mountain bike tandem, and fucking love riding them, but we can't do it for very long because she's just like going, oh my God, I got to get back into this. Her sit bones are, and things like that. So I always thought a e-bike would be good, but I didn't want to be that guy to go, oh, well, you need electronic assistance. I don't want to be that asshole. Before I finish off this topic, I do want to talk about, do you guys consider we take time off the bikes. How difficult is it to take time off the bike? What does it do to you to take time off the bike? And how do you deal with it? Because I'm dealing with about 5 weeks now, and my entire brain. Sorry that I sound nasally because something in my whiskey apparently has affected my sinuses.
It's flushing them out.
Yeah, it is. It's flushing them out. It's cleaning me out. But I base my entire cycling career off of fear and guilt. It's just I'm a Catholic cyclist apparently because everything is just like going. I talked about that coach who used to say, "Let's get one up on those fuckers." So when I don't ride, in my brain, I think of you guys riding. Or people I would like to eventually beat riding.
It's funny because when I'm riding, you're not. I think I've got one up on that
You
fucker.
mother. But how long is I mean, what's the longest time you've taken off, and what did it do to you? I mean, because I think of cycling as a mental release. I don't have to be racing. I don't have to be competing. I can just hop on and go for a ride by myself for an hour and a half and completely clear my conscience. Pay no attention to the people I've killed or anything like that, and all the sins I've committed. It's confessional. But what do you guys do?
It's really interesting. I think that when cycling is the only time in my life really where I think about other people.
Really?
Yeah, I think so. And I mean, okay, not that I don't think about other people. It's more that I worry about other people. You know what I mean? It's just that I worry about what other people are thinking. I don't really, and a lot of times I don't really worry about what other people think of me. But during cycling, that's the only time that I worry about that type of thing. And
in what way? Can I ask?
Yeah, in what way?
Yeah.
I think I worry about like what other people think of me if I'm not at the front, if I'm not racing well, or if I'm not beating other people. And I know that sounds really selfish of me.
Is that vanity?
I don't know if that's vanity,
But not in a bad way.
That's road cycling.
exactly.
You shouldn't have told me that.
Yeah.
But but the thing is, now that you say that, in my mind I'm thinking Sam thinks that he says that I shouldn't have told him that, so now I'm gonna have to beat him even more.
And
so that's
next
how.
year it's going to be a competition who's at the front the most.
But that's how.
And we get to sit on the wheel.
Yeah, you do.
But that's how my mentality works.
Yep.
Is it goes, somebody else threatens me with something, I'm gonna not threaten them, but mentally I'm gonna keep that in my head, and so I'm gonna remember that.
Yeah.
And so that's how I've been working. But a really interesting thing is that I take time off so I can relieve myself from that mentality, because that is what kills something for me. That is what makes me really not like something, because I always feel this way around August, that I have been worried about what other people think of me for 3 or 4 or 5 months, that I begin to burn out a little bit. But I know.
You worry about what, like us?
Yeah.
Like what we think of you?
all the time.
You should.
All the time. Because I love writing socially, but I also think about how am I going to beat each and every one of the people that I am writing. I'm really letting you guys into a weird
Game
speck of my
on,
mind.
dude.
What have I done?
I know. Yeah, it's
Jesus
That's
Christ,
what's weird.
I am sorry.
Well, that's what's
No,
weird and neurotic
I
about
agree
it.
with 100%.
Nah,
Yeah, 100%.
I'm blaming it on your mom.
But when I get back into it around right now, that's when I begin to think about Sam. I'm writing more than Sam. I'm writing more than Paul. I'm writing.
fucking dog meat.
But I was gonna say I'm writing more than Paul. I'm writing more than my dad.
Yeah.
Like that's like I get this weird vengeance inside of my
yeah.
inside of my chest that almost tightens up so much that it's like I have to get back into it or else I won't feel that like stress about other people.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. I'm a psychopath.
I get
don't know where that
yeah.
came
When
from.
I was literally
I
on the
do.
bike yesterday, and I'm like grinding on, like one of the 60 or 6 minute, like, what was it? It was like threshold efforts.
Sure.
And I was like, I'm just sitting there, and I'm like, I'm going to fucking break these guys next year. I'm just like, let's go.
Oh my God, we
You know,
have
oh, yeah.
serious fucking problems.
We do. But like my off season for the most part is not psychotic, I would like to say. I'm not crazy most of the time, I think. But like last year was my biggest off season, and it was from when did we ride last and I hit 5,000 miles?
Yeah.
It was like October or something. And then I was all in for finishing this reno, and the way my brain works, it's like the cold showers. I'm like, well, I'm not quitting until I'm done. And so it was like I wasn't gonna, start riding my bike until I was done with the project in the basement, until finally my wife was like, get on your bike.
Really?
And it wasn't until I went out with you guys, I don't know if you remember that spring ride, when I was like falling out the back, like, guys, I don't think I can do this. I mean,
Now you mentioned, I think through text today, that you and your wife had a conversation that you considered the year. Paint the picture before I fuck it up.
No worries. So I was talking to her this last weekend because I did an hour and a half on Saturday. She was saying she's going to go on a trail run on Sunday morning. She's like, what are you going to do? Are you going to ride? And I was like, I don't know. I was like, I mean, I have an hour and a half planned, but we'll see. And she goes, man, another hour and a half. Good for you. And I was like, thanks, babe. Yeah,
Wow.
good for me.
Yeah.
And, like just feeling all like patting myself on the back, like, yeah, I'm crushing it right now. She's like, why do you think you're doing so well this year with like actually sticking to the program? And I was telling her, I was like, well, first off, learned this 101 course in PT and my undergrad is set attainable goals, right? So it's like, I set a thing, I'm like, I know I can commit 3 days a week to riding. And so this season has been killer because I'm like, I got 3 days a week. I'm going to do 3 days a week. And it's like, in the past, I was like, well, I mean, I need to have my FTP at XYZ. I need to be able to ride this many days. And you set these goals that are so unattainable. And that's like the biggest one this year, is just literally setting an attainable goal. And then just, checking it off. It's like you get a little bit of, it's the millennial, like everybody gets a participation award. I'm like, I did it. I did my goal, And so, yeah, that was our conversation. It was just,
That's kind of what I love about System is because it gives you this entire training program, and I love clicking the workouts when I've done them. And if I don't do them, it's okay.
Right, but Zwift then cancels all of it. That's my
Yeah.
biggest thing about it. Is like, oh, you messed up. Well, you suck.
Yeah.
See you next season.
Yeah.
And that's like totally a mentality, right? When we're training is, I don't know, for me in the past when I would get into off season, I didn't want to start until I was like, all right, I'm committed. Exactly what you're saying, Jackson. And so for me personally, like I need to be able to commit and be like, yeah, no, I'm definitely able to do this and, see it out. What's your
And then there's this guy who's on a rollers in his basement watching VHS tapes.
Yeah. The Impossible Hour.
Yeah.
Eddie Merckx.
I love that there's a System video that is Sunday in Hell.
Yeah.
It's a workout based to Sunday
Yeah,
in Hell.
it's more.
It's really
more
fucking
endurance.
easy, but yeah.
It's an endurance type thing. So, yeah, I think we just to recap, listening to Jackson, who's getting into marriage. You've been married a little bit, and I've had practice at 2 different, marriages, a practice marriage, and working it out. I've learned to bob and weave, and But I think the thing is you got to work. What are your goals? When you talked about obtainable goals, that's really important. I mean, you got to set that. To me, not those little. It drives me nuts because Strava always sends me, so and so's doing this challenge. Would you like to do it? I don't need challenges. Now, if it works for you, that's fine. But
challenges.
I don't.
Yeah.
My challenge would be I have goals for next year, and and hopefully I get them. And one is, I'm out of
But setting attainable goals.
Turd of bloom.
Ah! I made a slurping sound on purpose.
Yeah. And I want to go to nationals, and these are the things that are drive me in this period of winter that I got to stay on top of it, because I can't. When I was 20, it was a lot easier to get, like, within a month I'm back. It doesn't
Hi,
happen
Jackson.
anymore. It doesn't. Enjoy it while you have it, But I think
forever.
But we're talking about balance here too. Is that I explained to my wife, these are my goals, and these are the sacrifices you may have to take. Are you okay with that? And at this point in time, she says, yeah, but I'm willing to, because what am I going to gain?
You have to adjust.
Yeah, it's
right.
like,
But there's nothing
life happens. Whether I've mentioned several times before, my mom's old enough that probably in the next year or two something might happen. I got grandkids getting older, getting into sports. Obligations watching that. You just got to, like, back off, and it's not that important at 6 years old. But I love it, and I tell you, I was on RGT, and there's this it's at the Leuven City, Flanders. It's, like, to me, the perfect workout, because you kind of start flat, downhill a little bit, and there's, like, 4 hills, and you hit this, and you just do this loop over and over again. It's just like intervals. And I'm thinking, man, I've been watching all these Turd de Bloom drink.
Oh,
God, you're killing me here.
Crit, because a lot of people started, like, putting them on YouTube and stuff, from Cat 4 to Cat 1s and stuff. And I know that course inside and out now, because I watched all of them. It's like, I know what I can do on that crit, and I know what I can do on the TT, and I know what, So that's the things that keeps me going. So that's, in the last 2 weeks, that's why I've been training a little bit, but it takes me a long time to get there. So.
You mentioned kids being in sport, and I remember, I could just imagine the cyclist going, honey, but honey,
He's not going pro. I am.
It's the pink ponies versus the blue rainbows. Are you fucking kidding me? I got to be there to watch this rugby scrum go all around the goddamn infield for an hour and a half. I could be there later. No, it's the most important day of your child's life. He's the star goalie for the pink ponies.
But you know what? It's maybe too far away for you because you're old. Dirt. But
Hurt.
God, I don't know why I'm now throwing punches, but I am.
Yeah, it's about fucking time.
Yeah. So, but, like, I can remember back to when my dad would show up at those things, and that's why, once again, it's so important, right?
It is.
It is. It's just, it's tough because, like, I get it, Paul. Like, man, you do everything right. Every time you text us and you're like, sorry guys, I got this. It's like, I think good on you. Because I know way too many people that'd be like, yeah, no, I'm not going to do that.
Jackson, we won't dive into this too deep.
Yeah. Might not come to Christmas if we do. So.
I'm talking about your grandparents.
Oh.
Yeah. You guys, let's wrap up with some. I did want to talk about the fact that that Outside Magazine are officially twats because they let off so many cycling media reporters these last couple weeks, and I do want to go out there and say that bike racing doesn't just magically cover itself. We here in the podcast world can do all we can, but we rely on cycling media, especially print media, in a large way, and for these major organizations to buy up cycling media and then shut the doors, Velo News, Cycling Tips have all been hit hard, and I do want to go out there and just say that's the sport isn't going to get covered. It isn't going to get covered properly. I can't do it. As the president of Packfiller Productions, I can't cover bike racing because I'm not there, and I can't afford to send people there. But I rely on those people to get there. So what I'm saying is, for you, the listeners out there, get pissed. Get pissed at these organizations. Subscribe to the ones that are still there. Peloton's gone. Velo News is gone. Yeah, sure, it's online, but Rollure, subscribe to these magazines that still exist, or they're going to be gone. So I did want to comment on that before I went to it. Just something final fun to have some kind of enjoyment with. So it's been 2022 has been a gigantic year, and this is our time here in the States where we say what we are thankful for. And so of all the things, the people, the events, the experiences, the riders, anything like that, if you had to come up with something that you were truly thankful for in the air and in the honest time of Thanksgiving, what would it be? I'm rambling intentionally, so I'll give you guys time to think. My example would be, I am thankful for Wout van Aert this year. I just loved his I think he had 9 wins this year, but he was always integral into the dance, and he was always a big part of it. He reminds me of kind of what Peter Sagan was back in his earlier years, and I loved watching that guy race his bike, especially in the Tour this year. That's what I'm thankful for. Anybody else got something you want to be thankful for that you want to throw out there?
I am thankful for another rider as well. But I think that this rider is more of a rider that is going to be kind of a flag bearer for the sport for the next long time. I'm really thankful for Tadej Pogačar.
Are you?
Yeah. I think that he is a guy that is, first of all, I am going to say this is my personal opinion. I think he is the best in the world right now. But he also...
I'm not going to disagree.
Yeah. But he also doesn't act like it.
Yeah.
He's got the confidence when he's racing, but off the bike, he just seems like a regular guy.
Yeah.
And I think that's really refreshing.
Yeah.
And he's like being nice, being like really great when he's being really like a good sportsman when he's racing against, Jonas Vingegaard, when those guys crash and they pat each other on the back and everything. I think he's just a really good example, not only for adult, mature racers, but also the young racers. He's someone that they can look up to, and I think that's really, really powerful.
Did Lance do any of that?
No.
I don't think he did.
He didn't care.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Lance will never be on this show, so I can say he's an asshole.
What if he came knocking on your door? Anyway,
Nah,
bang, 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 bang.
George won't either because he's a good. Well, you know George's brother.
Yeah, I know
he was his
George's
roommate.
brother. Yeah, I was his roommate for a while, but I don't think George will come on. But
No, not after that. Really. Go ahead.
Okay, so just to clarify, is this of the world tour? What we're
No,
thankful
it
for?
could be
Okay.
anything. It could be a day you had on the
Yep.
bike. It could be an event you competed in. It could be an event you watched. It could anything. It could be disc brake renovations.
Oh, stop.
Sorry.
That's
That's just ridiculous.
I'm going to bring it closer to home, and I'm going to say joining the Aribe Cycling Club because
Oh, wow.
that was
Oh,
rad.
wow.
I know. That was that was really cool. It was a good. It's fun to be a part of the group, and just whenever. I mean, even though we did not get out enough this summer because I was the one that was like, I'm going to have a heat stroke. You have to start too late. I have to start at 6. So it's anyway, we didn't get as much riding in, but the rides that we had are just epic. I mean, anywhere from the chafe, right? Trying to chase you guys down and all of us being just zombies at the end, too. Yeah. The one later on the end of the summer where everybody came back and you saw God. I can only imagine. Your
is that the
eyes-
Beer Buddies
Yes,
Day?
the Beer Buddies Day.
Oh,
Is
that's
that what they
awesome.
call them? Beer Buddies?
Yeah, beer buddies.
They're fucking disgusting.
Yes.
I will
No,
never
they're
eat
not.
them.
They're
No.
amazing.
It's
You're
like
dumb.
when I got drunk the first time.
You're dumb.
The first time I ever got drunk was on peach coolers. and
What?
I can never drink anything peach.
You shouldn't.
ever
have
since.
You shouldn't.
So
grown
what
up
I'm
on-
saying is beer buddies now for me are fucking toxic. I can't. I just look at them
Because of that one day.
I will say though, statistically, that's one of my best rides I've ever had.
Yes, right?
So yeah,
and
Yeah.
you left us because you were late to get back to your spouse.
yeah.
He left
Soon to be
for the record, he left me too.
Yeah.
The highlight of that ride for me was Sam bought me a 750
yeah.
mil of
Yeah.
St. Bernard's 12.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God, yeah, you were a hero on that day. It was just, it was a great day. Like, I think that all of the rides we've
was
shared have
fun.
been incredible.
Your wife came down. It was social.
Yeah.
At the
So you're happy when I'm miserable.
Yeah.
Okay.
Pretty
I mean,
much.
as a whole, like, if I'm saying, like, joining the Arrive team, most of our rides, someone's miserable. So, I love that.
That's a good point. That is a good point. Yeah. Okay. Paul, what do you think?
I would say RC3, that the race that we had, to me was like after COVID and everything.
Yeah.
It was just shut down. We didn't know what race was going on, and we had it in our backyard. And those guys, the first race they've ever put on,
Yeah.
I think they delivered really well, and looking forward to next year and stuff.
Yeah.
So that really, I was like, oh God, we're back, and things became real.
Yeah.
For 2 years, we were just in the desert.
I think that crit was one of the best days I've had as
That
a
was one
cyclist.
of the worst crits I've ever had.
I don't mean that. I don't mean how I rode.
you had
I just mean
brake
the
rub?
environment. I
Yeah,
just mean the day. I just mean the fact that there's a photo of all of us.
Staging.
Sorry, Sam. It's
okay.
with our fists in the air while Jackson was crossing the line first.
Yeah,
If you don't know what that picture is,
I do.
Log on to packfiller.com. It's the opening header on the website.
What I like is the pictures of us solo. We're staging. We're not racing because there's really not much to look here, people.
Yeah.
Move on.
Exactly. Yeah.
We got Jackson winning and then us staging.
I missed the podium by a I don't want to say the most offensive thing I'm going to say, by a hair.
An RCH.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I missed it by that fucking much. And I was really, next time I'll sprint faster. I knew everything.
See,
Anyway.
that's bike racing. That's the coolest thing. Is like, God dang, I did this wrong. Next time.
Yeah.
There's always a next time. There's always next year.
No.
There is.
And there's going to be another. There's going to be another podcast.
There is. Yeah. There is. There is. Speaking of which, this comes to the end of the logical conclusion of another podcast. If you, I'm supposed to say like and subscribe, and I'm not supposed to start a YouTube video with saying, "Hey guys." So I'm not going to do either of that. But I am going to say like and subscribe, and I'm going to say get out. I don't know what. Fuck it. Be thankful, right?
Be thankful.
Yep.
There we go. Thanks, you guys.
Thank you.